Hey guys, welcome back to the table. You are listening to Finding Atoria, a TTRPG podcast where a crazy group of friends gets together and talks about all things TTRPG that we have been playing for really way too long.
No.
I'm new.
Not way too long.
You can't say you're new anymore.
Well, I guess it's been a few years, but like
That means you're not new.
comparatively to you guys and your like collective 100 years, it's
If you've listened before, you can hear that I have Tori and Jess at the table with me.
Hi.
And you haven't heard yet that I also have Malcolm in the studio.
Back again.
I'm Arcadia, and we are so excited to have you here listening to us be sort of crazy and talk about our favorite things, TTRPG. We are going old school today, showing our age and longevity in the game.
and
I just got horrible looks.
and my lack thereof, I'm sure,
Next
will
time,
become
lead with
evident.
longevity.
We're going to dive into early source material because we have shelves and shelves and shelves of early source material that is well beloved. Things that I see in the community, people take pictures of like, came across these books. And I'm like, oh, dude, I've had those books for 30 years. So are we going to have a roll off as to who goes first? Malcolm and Tori are going to share knowledge with us today. So roll off. Who's going first?
Rolling for the tomes.
Malcolm's is scored as well as it's been.
I want everyone to know that I got this D20 from Arcadia before this show.
You handed it to me first.
And the 8 that I rolled is by far the highest roll from my practice round. We're really outperforming ourselves here. Did we take it with an 8?
No, I got an 18. I'm talking about
Which
the monster
technically is
manuals,
just-
bitches.
Wow.
I would get a bonus on that shit.
Yes.
No
yes.
bonuses were awarded. The roll wasn't even close. It's up to you.
All right. So, Tori, you've got Monster Manual, Fiend
And
Folio.
Fiend Folio.
Those
Are you going first?
I can.
Well, do you want to? You'd won, you choose.
Sure. And I have to show, okay, so we have the original monster manual. Actually, this is the 4th edition of this one. But
Advanced D&D Monster Manual.
It was before in like regular D&D in the box set.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing.
Correct.
It wasn't a thing. It's part of other things.
And do you know how weird I feel having read Advanced D&D? Like, I don't know that I've ever said those words. It's always just a D&D.
And then the Fiend Folio is AD&D too. So they are both AD&D. The fun part is I wanted to point this out before. This tells you about the books.
And this monster manual predates our beautiful white gigantic binders.
I will talk
yes?
about that.
Okay. All right.
Because that is not a monster manual. That's the Monstrous Compodium. And it is I can tell you, a cool thing about these books, like the first ones, I'm going to show this.
Gen Con. What year is that?
Well, if this is a monster manual, it is...
Big old advertisement for Gen Con in the back of the book.
Still in Milwaukee at that time, I'm sure.
It says 2009 on the front of it.
Oh, that would...
I didn't actually open it to check the publishing information though, which is what I was going to do
It's
next.
85.
Yeah.
And technically, if it's
Lake
the 4th...
Geneva,
It's
Wisconsin.
1977 was technically the year for the monster manual.
Okay.
Fiend Folio has something equally as cool in the back.
Where on earth... 2009 is the book number?
Oh,
not a year. I'm
no.
like, where the hell are you I'm like, these are from when I was a child. These are my father's books.
What's in the back of the folio?
In the back of the folio, it has, well...
Your business reply by mail. If
Oh,
you would
yeah,
like to do so.
yeah. No, this is actually... Okay, Gen Con.
Yep, Gen
Right.
Con in Lake Geneva.
And then it has the Role Playing Game Association, which you can get a full color plastic embossed high quality membership card,
Ooh.
a metal members pin
Heck yeah.
for the lapel or tie,
Oh. Let's wear our D&D tie pins.
A color certificate of official membership, suitable for framing.
I feel like Ralphie in A Christmas Story,
Right?
just rubbing his hands together.
And then on the one with the business reply is actually a questionnaire, which would actually earn you all of these freaking mailers.
To join the role-playing game
Every single
association.
nerdy mailer you can get.
I want to join the role-playing game association.
I just thought it was highly entertaining that those were in the back of the
fantastic.
books.
Yeah, it's a whole. I mean, it's not a quiz. It's more of a
It's a questionnaire.
it's a questionnaire.
It's a membership form.
No, but it's not.
It's not. Interesting.
no.
Yeah. Number 1 is name of the game, and then there's a line to fill it in. Where was this game purchased? A hobby shop, a bookstore, a toy store, department store, discount store, a mail order catalog, a gift, or other, please specify. As a player, how would you rate this game overall? Excellent, good, fair, or poor?
Yep.
How do you feel about the quality of the components that make up this game? Excellent, good, fair, or poor?
It goes on.
Stop.
List your marital status.
Yeah.
Single, married, divorced, separated, other.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just thought
They want to know a lot about you.
I thought it was highly entertaining.
That is awesome.
And one of the things that this was supposed to be, I was covering 2 books.
Right.
And then shortly after reading up on or researching Fiend Folio, I went, oh, because you can't do them separately. You can't do Monster Manual, Fiend Folio.
And that's
separately.
where I was going to ask, because I mean, I remember growing up with these books. I don't remember ever my first time seeing. I don't, they were in my home. So what's the difference? A fiend and a monster, Fiend Folio, Monster Manual?
They're 2 different. Okay. So
They're 2 different books, but what's the difference?
here we go. So they're both TSR. Obviously, they're both AD&D First Edition is where they started.
Okay.
AD&D First Edition.
Okay.
Fiend Folio was actually that one was 1981. This one was 77.
Right. Yeah. Monster Manual was early.
Monster Manual was also a Gygax
Yes.
beast.
Okay.
So the Fiend Folio was actually, let's see, what was the White Dwarf, which is a British gaming magazine.
Yep. Okay.
They had a column called Fiend Factory, and so almost all of the Fiend Folio stuff was a good chunk of it came from there.
So go ahead.
I'm not leading into my book at all, but this was more a compilation of stuff that had been out there in other format?
There are some monsters in here that are brand new in the Fiend Folio that are brand new. And it should have been released at that point, but the business guy, whose name was Don Turnbull, got in a pissing match with TSR.
Yep.
So you're saying Fiend Folio should have been released when Monster Manual wasn't. Turnbull got pissed off with TSR.
TSR
Okay.
and him got in a fight. This continues to happen. Also, the funny part was Ed Greenwood reviewed the Fiend Folio, and I don't think I have it on there. He basically said it was a train wreck.
Oh, great. All right.
Oh yeah, a disappointment.
A disappointment.
It's right here. And then Alan Zumwalt, Zumwait, had the same kind of. He said it released stuff too early.
Oh, like
there
it
was-
wasn't like
there's-
the things weren't ready.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this one was, and it was cobbled together. They did dog on the artists, but if remember from that video we watched, all the artists for both of these things,
They didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't know what they were doing.
They were just trying to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And TSR couldn't afford artists, so they were like, "Come."
There's so much that needs to be understood about the company and the business and what they were doing at the time that leads into how these books came out, when they came out,
Yep.
and the quality and the reception of some of them.
I think it's interesting that Greenwood's assessment of the Fiend Folio was like a disappointment, because I will be honest, when I have gone back to find monsters, gods, something, I go to the Fiend Folio. Like the monster manual to me, and partially I think just growing up with the game, the monster manual is like, it's the same old shit.
Well, and that's the Fiend Folio. A good chunk of these monsters did not make it any further than this. The Fiend Folio, however, was released for first edition AD&D, second edition AD&D, and a third one was third edition Dungeons and Dragons. There's only the 3. Unlike the Monster Manual, which started off with AD&D and
just kept going.
Every edition.
Yeah, every edition has it.
Yeah, it's like I have the latest Monster Manual that was released in 2024.
Well, and the thing is, the Monster Manual is considered one of the core 3.
Correct. Yeah, when you buy a set.
When you buy a set, you get the player's guide, the DM's guide, and the Monster Manual.
Yeah, so it became just
it is
an automatic part.
Were the Fiend Folio almost a supplement of
Yes.
monsters and adversaries?
So I thought it was interesting, just because I did a brief little look, and Malcolm might appreciate this, is like what things were in those books that sort of carried on. And one of the things that I know you are into is Death Knights come out of the Fiend Folio.
Right.
And they stuck.
And they stuck.
There's like 4 or 5 monsters that stuck around through that were new here that became incorporated in all the lore and stuck. I think the Drow as
Drow
well.
is Unearthed Arcana is what I got.
There was Pangolin, but Pangolins were actually a type of vampire from Thailand, I believe, that were basically folklore.
Yeah.
So like this pulled from folklore that wasn't necessarily explored in here.
In the Fiend Folio versus the Monster
Fiend
Manual.
Folio.
I'm like, people can't see you pointing to the
I
books.
know, I'm sorry, and I'm looking at the books right here.
Yeah, like we've got these really cool looking books. Like it's just sitting.
It's a
in front of us,
Githyanki.
Yeah, the Githyanki were something that stuck around from the Fiend Folio. Very cool.
I remember Githyanki from Baldur's Gate, the most recent one.
Oh,
I
sure.
played that.
Some other cool things about the Fiend Folio. The Fiend Folio was the mini spawner because there was a company that was associated with White Dwarf that made minis, and they went, oh, let's do those.
Right. Yeah.
So part of the mini thing.
Metal minis.
Yep, the pewter mini.
That's very cool.
They took art from the magazine. They did, however, stick with the stat block, small description, and art.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you say the difference in the layout? Because, you're talking about how the Monster Manual is a Gygaxian, baby.
Here's the funny part. Fiend Folio has 20 fucking pages. 20 pages of indexes.
Okay.
Monster Manual has 2.
Oh.
And it's a treasure.
Interesting.
This, the Monster Manual, these are the original ones, obviously. The newer Monster Manuals have more, but I thought it was interesting because the Monster Manual is an actual Gygax baby, and Fiend Folio is not.
But it was better indexed.
But it was better indexed, and they have all the tables in the back.
Sure. Did you find a huge difference in the art between them? Or was it pretty much the same?
It's all as terrible. Some of it's good. Some of it's good. Some of it is awful.
Yeah. But table upon table
But
upon
table
table.
upon table
I love
upon
them.
table. Like, I was like, this actually makes so much more sense to me.
Tori's petting
I'm
the books.
I'm petting the Fiend Folio because we all know I love my tables, and I don't like some of the newer books because they don't do well with the tables. They're all over the place.
We are Gygaxian babies. We love our tables.
Let's see what else. They did the second edition so the first one was technically should have been 1979, but it got released in 81.
It's the Fiend Folio.
Yep, the Fiend Folio. They also, their second edition AD&D was 1992. Their third edition was 2003. So it was only the 3 with the Fiend Folio. Monster Manual goes on. the Fiend Folio is the one who first split. You know how in the older versions of Monster Manual, when you had devils and demons, you have
Right.
A distinction.
a distinction. Fiend Folio started that, I do believe.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was there for a bit. It stopped. It's got more monsters than the Monster Manual. The Monster Manual, but once again, if you're talking about this, all you need to do is find like a module from any edition, and you're going to have 6 extra monsters
Sure.
that aren't in those books.
Okay.
Got you. So that supplementary resource beyond what was the core at the time.
Right.
And like you said, a few of those stuck around. The Death Knight became ubiquitous throughout as one of the, at least in my mind, most important villains out there. Very, very cool stuff.
You can play as a Death Knight in World of Warcraft now. In World of Warcraft, which very heavily borrows from D&D.
A little bit of grabbing.
I have to say something about like the monster manuals because we did the Fiend Folio.
Do it.
The Monster Manuals core book, 1977. It was a Gygax beast. I think the first couple were Gygax. Like he was on there. Just like the last couple, all have Crawford
Right.
on them.
You were going to talk about, I had brought up, like, how is it different than our good old white, gigantic binders, Monster Manual 1, Monster Manual 2?
That is Monstrous Compendium. It is
Compendium,
not
you're right.
The
So,
Monster
yes,
Manual.
You're right. And I always think
and that
manual,
was
but you're right. It's
technically,
compendium.
it was second edition AD&D.
Yes.
And it was supposed to be easier for dungeon masters to use as a quick guide.
Tabs.
Tabs and a binder.
But loose pieces of paper are not secure, number one. And instead of, having one monster on a page, you would have one monster on the front page. And then, so it got more complicated. They put that down and actually did a book that they called the Monstrous Compendium, but it was only second edition AD&D, and that was it.
So I know we're not digging into the Monstrous Compendium, but what makes that different than the Monster Manual, other than how
That's
they
it.
put it together?
That's it.
Like exact
That's
same
it.
monsters? Because
It's
they
the
seem
sa-
like there's so much
Nope.
more in the compendium.
Nope.
I
They
think
might
that
have pulled in from the modules,
Okay.
But I
that's
think you're
it.
right. I think it was meant to be that big, ugly binder, that thing that you had that you went to, and it was supposed to be indexed in the tabs. And it was, I think that they did more for the art too. I think that if I remember, the Monsters Compendium went a little bit further with color art on a lot of things. But yeah,
I just think that's interesting that they're considered two separate things, because I'm looking at this Monster Manual book and its subtitle is An Illustrated Compendium of Monsters, Aerial Servant to Zombie by Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is there was two different, it rerouted, if that makes sense. So
No.
second edition started with the Monstrous Compendium, and then they made the Monstrous Manual, not Monster Manual, as a book for
Right.
the
Because the binders didn't
because
work.
the people had 160 pounds of gear in a backpack.
Right? And those
to go
binders
to-
are huge.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yes, they
and
are.
I think that was the point of I really think it was at the time to have this, this monstrous tome that was also just as functional as a Trapper Keeper.
Well, okay, and I will say, remembering back to some of the things I've found from my dad's, DMing, we found the early guides in binders. We found the early modules in binders, and they would be in there with papers that had notes on them, and they would be in there with character sheets, and I think very early on it wasn't uncommon for players or DMs to have these binders. And then you could take, maybe I'm playing the game, I could take that monster out of the compendium, put it in my module binder, and have that available to have, rather than flipping through 5 different books.
The earliest attempts of putting a Beyond together to try to get it all under that one housing. All right.
The first AD&D was 1985, and who's the artist on the front? Easily.
Yes, it's got to be easily. Right?
It's Easley.
Yes.
Jeff Easley.
You got to check out our episode about the artists and the art, man, because all tons of credit given to those early artists.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So that we got it up to 2nd edition. 3rd edition, the Monster Manual 2 and the Feed Folio came out, I think, hitting the ground.
Right. So you had your core rule book, and then you had your supplement with it at the same time.
Monster Manual 2, Monster Manual 3.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The second Fiend Folio was meant to do that same job of expanding the monsters that you had access to from different sources.
Right. And the Monster Manual 3 was almost all new monsters. So remember, if they went up to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In 3rd edition. Mm-hmm. But I will say in 4, they changed the way the stat block went.
Oh, yes.
Because they started the stat block in the monster manuals.
Sure.
Picture.
Stat block.
It picture, stat block, blurb.
Description.
Look at how small that writing is.
I know. But yeah. They changed the stat blocks to reflect easier with 3.5.
Okay.
Oh,
Because that was when
there were huge mechanical changes
Yeah.
at that point.
So they tweaked the stat blocks. The 5th one was the Monster Manual 5 was in 2007. In 2008, we dropped on 4th edition.
Yeah.
And that's when you start seeing Mike Merle's
Art.
No,
No.
he was in there with Crawford.
Oh, gotcha.
4th
game
is where
design.
it's game design. Both of them were like, Merle's was there before, but that's when you see Crawford's name on there.
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
And Perkins.
Yes.
Perkins' name starts showing up there too.
Yeah.
The monster, in 4th edition, they end up with a Monster Manual 2 and a Monster Manual 3 and the Monstrous Vault.
Sure.
And then 5th edition, their first one drops 2014. And then with the 5th edition, you have the monster manual, but then you have all the monsters that aren't in there in Tasha's.
Yes.
In Bigsby's.
And
Mordenkainen.
And that's
and
what,
Volos. And Xanthar's.
when you started talking about how you the monster manual and then you had the Fiend Folio, that's what I was thinking of. I was
Yep,
like,
no,
the beginning of we can't just put it all in one spot.
That's exactly it. That's like 5th ed. And then 2025, they revised the stat blocks again because some of them go with the changed way that change was in the game when they went to 5.5. I'm sorry.
Sure.
It's always going to be 5.5.
I know. I agree. Very
But
cool.
yeah, they're pretty to look at. The art got better.
Yeah,
For
they-
damn sure.
Very much so. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and take a break. And then when we come back, Malcolm is going to share his book with us. I'm excited to see and hear what we were taking out of that one for the years to come. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
When you sit down at the table, open the books, and spill out the dice, you're looking for an epic adventure. Tabletop role-playing is more popular than ever, and every day new players join our great hobby. My name is Steve Kellums, and I'm the host of the Epic Adventure Podcast. I'm just a fan with a radio voice, but joining me on this quest will be Mike Howlett, the co-founder of Oddfish Games, a great independent game company, and Christina Stiso, a PhD student studying game-based learning. Together, we will discuss all things tabletop gaming, from character creation to world building to setting and pacing. We will give you tips and tricks to make your games, well, epic. Like and subscribe to the Epic Adventure Podcast today.
This episode of Finding a Tory is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. The Finding Atoria podcast is looking for guests for our upcoming episodes. Are you or someone you know passionate about the TTRPG community and have a story to share? If so, contact us on our socials or reach out at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria. And now back to your program.
Hey, welcome back to the table. You are listening to Finding Atoria, and we have been talking about some of the earliest source books for Dungeons and Dragons. Early on, we were talking with Tori about the Fiend Folio and the Monster Manual over the years.
Very cool stuff.
And Malcolm gets to give us some knowledge and lore now. He is talking about what book?
I'm going to try to take a swing at the first version of Unearthed Arcana. It was funny that we were going over the book earlier and you said something about 2019 or
2009.
Yeah.
And I look up in the corner and see a 2017 and I'm thinking, no way. But that was just the release number on the book. So this was TSR's 2017 official Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Unearthed Arcana by Gary Gygax. And it's kind of interesting because I think this is the last time that Gary was in the position of the company that he was in when a book was released.
Oh.
Maybe not the last time, but it certainly precipitated some things. But let's talk about the book first. 1985. And this book was, and I had asked Tori in the last segment about where some of the fiends had come from that made up that first Fiend Folio. And you were talking about this magazine article or forum that was used. And Gygax at the time in Dragon Magazine used to have a segment that was called From the Sorcerer's Scroll and used it as sort of a communication to the fan group, a little bit of a teaser page on what's coming or, hey, we had this idea sort of thing. And a lot of what was part of this first Unearthed Arcana came from that and was sort of a, hey, if you don't have all of the episodes, if there's something, that you're missing, we're going to get it all together for you in a book that you can buy.
Right, of course.
And
Spend your money.
Yeah.
I like it because it brought forth a lot of things that stuck around later, or maybe they had been there and now they were better addressed in this book. And you see some introductions of classes with Barbarian and Cavalier, and applying some of those new role-playing desires from the community at the time to those classes. And they also brought out, and I promised you all earlier, a little bit of trivia today.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They brought out a couple new races at the time to play, and this is where the Drow were introduced as
A playable
character. Definitely not the first time. Like you mentioned, they may have been just strictly in the Monster Manual when it dropped. And this said, okay, here's a way that you can play them. Here's some stats around them. Here's some things. And then you also got deep gnomes. And my question for the audience, before anybody grabs their phone and goes to it, proper pronunciation of deep gnome.
Svirfneblin? Probably not
No
correct.
clue.
I no idea.
Okay. One more time from Bird.
Svirfneblin?
Snurfneblin is it is my new favorite word. I can tell you
deep gnomes.
that I have probably called them Snurflablini, Snurfalini, and Snurf Eleanor. But it is Snurfneblin, and if you look on the dictionary, you go hard with the neb. The neb is
So this is a weird connection, but a handful of days ago, I got a word of the day thing about obscure words, and it was a medieval word that was to snurfle or something like that, and it was to make a nest in your bed. And so now I'm just cracking up at the snurf, and when you talk about a deep gnome, I'm like...
Well, and here, the only reason why I know how to say that is because of Clacker in the Drist books.
Right?
There you go.
Yes.
Clacker was it, because he was the polymorphed deep gnome.
So,
Yeah, I read that
He
one.
was the hook horror. Yeah.
I actually read that one. I haven't read most of them, but I've read that one.
Clacker.
Very
those,
cool.
Those were some of the things that stuck from this. Now this book was not universally panned, but heavily critiqued. And I think that there's a little backstory that needs to go into this, and that is what was going on at TSR at the time, which I'm probably not going to go as deep into as I want to. But
That was a thing.
to say that there were Gygaxian tables of fantastic intricacy and ultimate, I don't think they went that far with the business ledger. And there were a lot of things going on at the time, internally, externally, lawsuits in this period, and just arcade games. There were so many factors, but it weren't going well in the treasury. And a lot of critics have said that there is enough of that cloud of backstory and proof within the quality of the published material that it was sort of a, can we raise money? Now, I can't confirm or deny, and nobody...
I don't think that model's been left. How many books did you just rattle off as to find monsters and spells and classes? And
Well, and that's Wizards.
Yeah.
But Wizards was TSR's... it was who picked up the mantle.
So you had this almost immediate call out that some of the classes that were introduced, especially, and revamped and added to, were OP. And immediately, the same Dragon magazine that, had used this as the forum came out after publishing. And it's funny because one of the back notes in the book is Gygax going, okay, look, I gave you what you wanted. We know that there's going to be questions. You can direct questions here. But there was a little bit more of a pushback. In Dragon magazine, number 103 was the correction edition of the Hey We Hear You.
They have a medium. They didn't have Beyond. They had Dragon magazine.
Exactly. So all of those little, fill out the information, mail it in, sort of, those are your people that are like, we want answers. And they answered them. They came out and said, hey, this is imperfect. Here's what's wrong with it. And I'll go into it a bit more later, but there were other swipes at this. They came out later with other versions. They used the name again, even kind of recently.
They did.
But a lot of what I liked about it is the cover art, dude. It's easily, I think, his best, with one of the iconic images of the wizard in the laboratory.
Beasley?
Yeah,
It's gotta be Beasley.
It's Jeff Easley. Yeah.
Easily.
Yep, and that wizard at work with the book out in front of him and all of the great lighting.
That's iconic as shit too.
And to me, it's like it's an alchemist.
You kind of see that with the bubbling sorts of vials of liquids and
Look in the back of that book
and things like that.
Just for me.
Yes.
Let's see if the TSR is in there.
Yeah. It's
No,
not.
it's just
I was going to say that this one did not get the the mail business replies and all of the things in the back there, but it did some really cool stuff with weapons, and it was carried forward in a different book called Arms and Equipment. But they go into pole arms in a completely different way in the back of the book, and I think that there are some good elements to it. I kind of got drawn into the reactions to it, to the cloud that it was under, so to speak. But I believe that it was supposed to be part of a second edition run out and did not get carried forward. And I believe that Gary was not in a position of decision making by that time, whether he was out of the company altogether or I'm not sure of. But
when the divorce was?
Relatively quickly after this came out and how it was supposed to be used for future editions, there was a parting of ways, and the book really didn't carry much momentum forward after that until re-releases happened.
So out of curiosity, I'm looking through the book right now, and I'm seeing like character classes. Are they only listing things that were new in this book, or are they listing things that were already existing?
There's inclusions of other things in there.
Okay, because I'm sitting here looking at like, seriously, this is the first time you get, because
they probably collected them from, once again, modules and everything.
Well,
you got to collect them.
Right, but
because I'm looking at, you've got the paladin. You've got druids, barbarians, rangers, illusionists, assassins, monks, bards. And so I'm like, don't tell me this is like the first time these classes are available.
I think that they claim the barbarian and the cavalier were the new ones for this.
Okay. And the cavalier is what the paladin is under.
Right.
Yeah.
Subclass of there.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's really what I had it in. Any good books or any book's a good book. I fill up the library, but it really kind of felt like with this one there was an attempt to grab things that were already out there, collect them and put them into one resource.
And don't they use the term unearthed arcana now as playtest? Isn't playtest go underneath that?
It might very well be. I know that they have released just other books that are under that title, but I think that it might be part of their playtest discovery group is called that.
Yeah.
Maybe an ode back to. And if I spoke ill of or mentioned bad things about Gary or the company at the time, very generally it was just not the height of the environment and the
Well, you're mid 80s. You're getting a lot of pushback at that time.
And I didn't want it to be about that. I wanted to keep it on the book, but I would almost go further into that because I know that there were some around that time litigation situations, around that time some satanic panic. It was not the best time to be in the business, and I don't think that they were doing amazing jobs of helping themselves in the accounting department. But I don't know. That's kind of all of this speculation and why a lot of the sayers of nay say that the book drop was unnecessary, unrefined, and yeah.
TSR lost it to Wizards in the 90s.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is when I think the final...
Right. And this was, it was a well-received book. And it's one of those, like you were talking about before, you go out and you see it online. People are like, look what I found. The original's very, very... I don't know. It's
iconic.
Not well, yeah, it's iconic though, and I'm sorry, but I kicked that to Jeff Easley. I love the cover of the book.
He did so well on everything.
Yeah.
But that's what I had on Unearthed Arcana. I'll entertain any questions up to my limit of knowledge.
I thought it was really cool because in a brief flip through, so much jumps out of information, and for me, it was things that we've known and played with and interacted with for decades, and then to sort of see where it's stemming from.
It's like picking up Tasha's.
Right? Yeah. And what he was saying about the pole arms, like you look at, I don't know if you guys saw that when I was flipping through, but like at the back of it, it like shows they're all just lined up together.
Yeah.
So you have a relativity matrix to say, well, this one is here and that one is there and everything in between. And I don't know, just sometimes those visuals are very helpful.
There's some of the things that when I was a kid and you sit down, you got your hands on a book like this, that you could build out an entire encounter campaign, NPC arc structure just based on some of those visuals versus some of those tables and where that takes your mind. I think that it does a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, all of this is ancient lore. we have introduced you to the deep magic.
Yeah.
Speaking of, there were new spells and magical abilities in it as well that I do not enumerate in my report.
Yeah, expanded on the illusionist class.
Right. They did.
Stuff.
It wasn't just those things. They did stuff with magic too. But yes,
so
back to getting grilled.
So what's your thoughts of the deep magic?
Oh goodness. Like it's before my time for sure, and by that I mean the most recently published of these books was published before I was born. Like
something that I alluded to earlier is probably more recently than not. We can't both be right.
I was born in 1986. You said that one was published in 1985,
right? And they have, they've got newer versions. That's what
Yes, the newer versions. Obviously, I've seen those, but like. So like it's all very interesting because this is stuff you guys grew up with, and like if I had gotten into D&D or other TTRPGs like earlier in my life, I might have seen some of the earlier versions because that would have been what my library had, or that would have been what my parents bought for me, or whatever. But I didn't, and so now I'm looking at it like I only got into D&D like a few years ago. So I've only ever purchased for myself like the shiny new 5e books, and so like it's really really neat to look at it because it just comparatively where it is now versus what the artwork looks like and how the book is organized and what was originally in it. And it's
Compare and contrast right there.
Well, like, it's really because like they look really, really 80s.
They are,
Yeah, really,
well,
really 80s.
Because they are really 80s.
They're like,
and that
but-
goes back to like our discussion at last season about the art and how, it's these artists that really created the fantasy art genre. And these earliest books, like, they were still trying to figure it out. Like, you didn't know what a beholder looked like,
Yeah.
which is why they look so goofy.
Yeah,
My
like,
poor beholder looks so silly.
like, it is really interesting to just kind of see, like, because I may not have been into D&D until recently, but I have been a lifelong reader of fantasy.
Right.
And just how many of these impacted the cover art for what people assumed a wizard looked like.
Right.
What people assumed a dragon would look like. What people assumed all of these things looked like.
Right.
Is heavily influenced by these. And I can see the influence in a lot of just, here's how we portray a wizard. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
so like the books I grew up reading were all heavily influenced by this. And it's just really interesting to have this kind of rethink now of, I never knew this. Like, all of this has touched most of what I read, and I never knew. Like, I've been playing World of Warcraft since it came out in 2004, and I never knew
Its
how
origins.
deeply it was tied to D&D. Because I caught all of the Star Wars references. I catch all of the Discworld references. Like, they've got a lot of nerdy references to literally everything in there. I mean, there's a quest called Kessel's Run.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they reference a lot of stuff, but like just how much came from D&D, I had no idea until I'm looking. It's like, okay, that's a cleric's, but oh, that reminds me of World of Warcraft. Yeah, World of Warcraft took that from D&D.
Right.
So it's just interesting. Like, it's like looking at the progenitor of everything that I came to love later on, except it stayed around and I just didn't realize it until only a year or so ago.
Yeah. Malcolm.
I just going through the book really quick, and something that did not stick. Character ability expansion, comeliness.
I saw that. Yeah.
No.
When charisma is not enough, your attractiveness comes into play.
Well, yeah.
You have a wide range here from -16 or lower
Fugly.
Oh my God.
to
Beyond fugly.
+26 to +30. Now your
Godlike.
your -16 simply says that those viewing this character
Only a mother could love.
would
Not
be
even.
repulsed, horrified, so as to turn away or immediately attempt to destroy.
Oh my God.
Too ugly to live? The reactions lend towards escape or reinforcement of previously determined horror. If both the viewer and the creature are in an evil or of evil alignment, that effect is positive.
Sure. You are so fucking ugly that you're going to be a good bad guy.
You have, in this version of the game, if you were simply that evil, you like that sort of thing. And then the other side goes to unearthly beauty.
Oh.
It can only be possessed by creatures from other planes, demigods, demigoddesses, or deities of an unusual sort.
So not even your normal deity.
The hottie deity.
You gotta be Aphrodite.
It's Aphrodite.
It's the hottie.
Aphrodite. Words are wording.
Yay, we have a podcast.
It's like if Mount Olympus in 90210 had a baby.
Aphrodite.
That's definitely an Aaron spelling thing.
That's what happens when you're saying deity and Aphrodite.
Anyway, so that's going to wrap it up for Unearthed Arcana there, folks. I feel like we
Let's bring
finished
comeliness
strong.
back into the game.
Let's not say that we didn't.
Charisma.
Let's just leave it with charisma.
Just like, why are we?
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you had a little bit of fun with us today. And maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't, but we love the origins of the game and diving into them. So we will catch you next time. And in the meantime, check us out on our socials. We're on Facebook and Insta and YouTube. You can also find us at www.wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria, where you will see our beautiful little Patreon button. Press the button. Listen to our really rowdy shenanigans behind the paywall. We will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
This episode of Finding Atoria is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. Find us at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria if you or anyone you know has stories or other good things to say about TTRPGs. Get a hold of us. You can find us on all the social medias.
This episode of Finding Atoria is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. Are you interested in sharing stories of your favorite TTRPG experiences? If so, reach out at www.wordleafmedia.com/contact us on our socials, or you can now leave a comment on your favorite Finding Atoria episode at our Wordleaf Media YouTube channel.